Good morning, everyone! The water temple's done, so hopefully I can go back to Pokémon without attracting any sort of cynicism, since, well, I have nothing to chicken out of doing now. Anyway, I already mentioned this on the TSG forums, but I thought I'd bring this up here as well for the benefit of the people who don't go there. I got a second partnership offer from YouTube during the last weekend, as it turns out. And, I already covered extensively why I am not interested in such a thing. But it's just to tell you that I turned it down. I simply don't think losing my freedom of speech is worth a few pennies a day, nor is Adblock Plus becoming mandatory equipment when watching my videos. I definitely don't want that to happen. We already have to deal with enough ads in everyday life as it is without my own personal greed making matters worse. But enough about that, I've said it a million times already. Something that happened that was very funny that I wanted to share the other day on the TSG Presents stream. Britt was playing Pokemon Yellow and he was up to Lieutenant Surge. In that game, he only has a level 28 Raichu with Thunderbolt, Mega Punch, Mega Kick, and Growl. And, first attempt didn't end too well. Britt ended up being completely swept by that Raichu because he was absolutely underleveled. Usually what people do when they have trouble against Surge is that they go into Diglett's Cave and catch a Dugtrio. These are usually like level 29 and have no problem whatsoever with Surge. However, apparently Britt wasn't aware of that because he caught a level 17 Diglett. I think it was level 17, but I don't think it mattered. I don't think it matters either way. But what happened on the second attempt was that, he played his cards a little better, but it still came down to a level 10 Charmander because he still was vastly underleveled. So here you go. He had that level 28 Raichu with like 1 HP left against the level 10 Charmander. All the Raichu has to do is hit the Charmander and he wins. Well, guess what? It did growl. The Raichu did fucking growl and got beaten by a level 10 Charmander. But that's enough of that. I'm going to come back to this later because it's time to do the puzzle with the buttons and the doors. I think there's a rocket in the last episode that said that the green button has to be pushed last. So it's either red, blue, green, or blue, red, green. I'm going to try red, blue, green, see what it gives. We got it? Oh yeah, I got it! Well, that was lucky. But then again, I guess it was a 50-50 chance. That is, if my memory didn't play tricks on me, because I think I remember that Rocket saying that the green button has to be pushed last, but I'm not entirely sure on that. But yeah, back to that Surge battle. Here on this channel, we're no strangers to love. No, sorry, I just had to say it. You know, I was looking for my words and then the joke just came out by itself. But yeah, we're no strangers to really bad AI decisions. I'm sure everyone remembers in all the way back in the Platinum LP, I think it was like a Rhydon using Earthquake against 2 flyers / levitators with a Mag Cargo partner, and all sorts of really bad decisions from wild Pokemon, but those are wild Pokemon. Normally I'd expect a gym leader to at least have a bit, better AI. I mean, a level 28 Raichu opposed with a level 10 Charmander. It's a one-hit KO no matter how you slice it, and there's just no way that a Charmander is going to outspeed a Raichu that's 18 levels higher. So, I don't know how the game thought that was a good idea, and usually I think that, especially for gym leaders, the AI would be, all topped out, but I guess not. I guess gym leader AI and more high-end AI in general became a lot better throughout the generations, because I cannot possibly imagine such a scenario repeating itself in a modern Pokemon game. There's just absolutely no way. And while we're talking about stupid stuff, the Japanese are soon going to have a second expansion to the Dream World, while international users are still waiting on their first. But yes, second expansion to the Dream World for Japanese users. It's called the Old Mansion, and so far we only know of two species of Pokemon that can be found in there. We got Chimecho, which has no Dream World abilities, so I wonder what's the point. And Spiritomb, which has Infiltrator as its Dream World ability. Now, usually, Pressure, it's not a very good ability by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm saying that because, of course, it's its regular ability. But Infiltrator, I'd say it's even worse, because Reflect and Light Screen really aren't used that much, not nearly enough to justify using Infiltrator, at least. Whereas Pressure, well, at least it always does something. Even if PP wasting just isn't that effective, I guess you could use it, well, in certain effective scenarios, especially since Spiritomb is rather bulky, so it's going to have some time to do its thing when it comes to PP wasting. But yeah, it's like they're going out of their way to make the Dream World look as unimpressive as humanly possible. And, you know, it's sort of a shame that they have this no Generation 5 Pokemon in the Dream World policy so far. Else I'd be wondering, you know, is it possible that something like Litwick could come around and redeem the whole thing? Because I think everyone's just dying to play with Shadow Tag Chandelure outside of the Dream World metagame, since, well, the standard overused metagame is the main thing, and the Dream World metagame is just like, you know, a distraction of sorts. But yeah, even there, I'm mentioning the main regular overused metagame, and I'm honestly not thinking that Chandelure is going to be allowed there for long. But the good news is that the precedent has been set when it comes to Dream World abilities totally breaking certain Pokemon. There was some outcry when it comes to, you know, not allowing Blaziken on the regular overused ladder, and personally that's a decision that I totally got behind back then, and I still agree with it now. So if the same happens to Chandelure, I think at least this debate's out of the way. I don't think we're going to have too many people complaining that they can't use a Flashfire Chandelure, especially since, you know, Flashfire Chandelure itself is rather close to the cutoff line between overused and underused. So I don't think too many people would feel like, you know, robbed that they can't use Flashfire Chandelure in overused anymore. Anyway, we just beat the last Rocket Grunt in the Goldenrod department store basement. This is the second basement, I believe. I'm gonna have Raikou go in the lead. It's either Raikou or Lapras. As you noticed, I'm trying to keep my levels as even as possible so that one Pokemon doesn't go too far ahead and start thrashing everything on its own. Okay, so the director was actually the director. This time around it wasn't Petrol, and he gave me the card key that's going to allow me to reach the remaining area of the radio tower that I wasn't able to access before. And they may be able to control Pokemon using a special signal. I sort of wonder why they didn't do that here, because what happened in Mahogany, as they said, it was just an experiment, and the results of that experiment, even though they say it was a complete success, it's never, ever, ever mentioned again afterwards, so it's just a waste of a story arc, I think. Anyway, now we're back in the first basement, and got a Sleep Talk TM earlier on, and now the Amulet Coin. If you want to use it, feel free to. Personally, I prefer using items that will help me in battle, but if you want the amulet coin on your lead or something like that to double the amount of cash that you obtain for beating trainers, then definitely feel free to do so. And excuse me while I'm just going for some healing. That's because we're going to be taking on a boss gauntlet soon. We're going to have to fight the 3 remaining Rocket executives, one right after the other. Of course, I can head back for healing between each of them, but that's probably not going to be necessary because remember how lousy Petrol's lineup was? Well, they're all sort of like that. Of course, the levels are a bit higher, especially Archer. But even there, Archer, despite being, the big boss, the head honcho of Team Rocket right now, he still has only 3 Pokemon and 2 unevolved ones among them. So, yeah, just throwing that out of the way because I just had to mention. I already mentioned it in my Crystal LP, how, this is the final battle against Team Rocket. We're already very late into the game, and this guy's got 2 unevolved Pokemon, a Houndour, and what was it again? Was it a Coughing? Yeah, I think it was a Coughing, but anyway, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Just look at, for example, the final battles against Maxie and Archie and Cyrus, which all happened at around this stage of the game, between the 7th and 8th gyms. They all had the fully evolved teams, but I just can't wrap my head around what they were thinking. I mean, did they think that 2 Houndooms and a Weezing would make it too difficult? Yeah, because this game is already very difficult to begin with. But yeah, he's already got a Houndoom, so I guess having a Houndour makes sense. Even though, he could have just looked into another evolutionary line. There are 250 Pokemon to choose from! Gosh! Anyway, this guy here, Proton, we fought him at the bottom of the Slowpoke well, and he's the first one of the 3 executives that we're going to be taking on, one right after the other. Now, as I said before, in Gold, Silver, Crystal, he's actually a nameless executive who only has, I think it's a level 36 Golbat or something. Here, though, the Golbat is 8 levels lower because he's got a Weezing to go alongside that. Okay, Thunderbolt should be a one-hit KO, but yeah, if they think they can afford to temper with Proton's lineup, then why didn't they do the same for Archer? I don't get it, but next is Weezing, which is mostly a physically defensive Pokemon, so special attacks should work fairly well, even though, I think the only thing that I have that's super effective is Gengar's Dream Eater, since Weezing only has the one weakness to Psychic. And yeah, Thunderbolt's a one-hit KO. I was wondering, though, because it's still a neutral hit on a level 33 Pokemon. Oh, what am I saying? This is a legendary-powered Thunderbolt! But anyway, Proton looked like a hair-pulling sissy for the 2nd time in a row. What he did was make Team Rocket's wrath grow. Too bad it's not going to be lasting too long anyway, because the next 2 fights are going to take, 5 minutes? Go up for Observation Deck. There was no Observation Deck in Gold, Silver, Crystal. This is something they added in the remakes. However, the chronology of the battles remains the exact same. You fight Proton first, then Ariana, and then Archer, which is a gauntlet that I shall complete in the next episode.